Well, hello there, and welcome to the Place to Soar, where our motto is step out and redesign. I have the gospel duo with me tonight, and I'm so excited to introduce this couple. But before I do that, my name is Anita Russell, and I am your host for the Place to Soar. And this is my co-host, Gail Taliaferro, and we're just so happy that you were able to join us. So I'm going to start off by reading a little bit of a bio on Bishop Sidney Gaines and his lovely wife, Pastor Shirley Gaines. And so I'm just going to jump right in and start off with the bishop. He was born to Isaac and the late Ann Gaines in Richland, Georgia. He is the seventh of 9 children. I only had a very small family myself because I can't even relate to being in a house with 9 children. Bishop Gaines with his mother relocated to Trenton, New Jersey at an early age. He graduated from Trenton Central High School, attended Mercer County Community College where he majored in general business. He also attended Bible college, and he received his degree in counseling. And he later attended the Shepherd's Care Bible College, where he earned his doctoral degree in clinical religious counseling. That is a mouthful. Bishop Gaines is married to Dr. Shirley Gaines, and the funny thing is she also comes from a very large family. She is the 6th of 8 children. She graduated from Trenton Central High School and continued her studies in, get this, computer programming, electronic engineering, human resources, and other training in the field of mental health. Shirley is the author of this incredible book that we are going to talk about. In your journey lies your awakening. So welcome to the Place to Soar, and why don't you tell our audience who you are?
Wow. Well, of course, I am the Bishop, Dr. Sidney L. Gaines, coming before you once again live and well, and I'm still kicking.
Amen.
Oh.
And, well, how much more you want me to tell?
Everything. Everything.
Well, actually, tonight, I really would love the focus point to be actually on my wife.
Okay.
I enjoy listening to her. I enjoy sitting on the set with her. Whenever I get an opportunity to listen to her, I just melt. So I like the light to shine on Dr. Gaines here.
That's so nice. Well, like my husband, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're viewing this. I am the Dr. Shirley M. Gaines. I am the author of that wonderful book of In Your Journey Lies Your Awakening, dealing with from the time you were born until your present state right now, your journey began. And of course, I'm the 6th child out of 8. My parents stayed together until I was 10 years old. And so from the age of 10 and up, life changed. Life wasn't what it used to be. So we had to learn, but I thank God for my mother, who was that example for us. And I contributed a lot of my success or staying focused to her, watching how she was with 8 children. And back then it wasn't easy.
Yes.
But she did it. And I'm also, of course, married to this wonderful man that I'm well pleased with. He's very supportive, very encouraging. And he's not, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not like fearful if my wife does this.
Oh, nice.
That competitiveness, that insecurity. It's like, well, when my wife shine, I shine. Awesome. So, you know, I'm really grateful and thankful that he's my driving force, and he really pushes me. A lot of people don't realize that it's just not me. I'll be laid back and he'll say, no, honey, you got to do it. You got to do it. And so he's like the pain in my neck, but it's a good pain in my neck. So,
see, that's a good thing because it's not just a marriage; it's a partnership.
Yes,
it's
yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
life partners, and
Yes.
that's just so so awesome because you don't see that these days. And it's interesting how you said, you know, because I can relate to it. You know, when you were 10 years old, you know, your family structure, your household wasn't broken.
Right.
Your household was restructured, and you had a, you know, a
Yes.
mother who was very a role model to you.
Yes.
That's important for people to know, because you can still succeed and still come from a restructured family.
Exactly. So one of the things that, and I mean that when I say you guys are like the gospel duo to me, I just kind of named you that. But I think it's really fascinating, the fact that you guys have been married for a very, very long time, and the fact that you work together, you do ministry together. We actually had a couple on a few episodes ago, and they were the same way. They had been married for years and years and years. They started a business together, and one of the things that they really talked about was how they complement one another. So one person was like the accounting and the finance and the marketing, and the other person was it's an electrical business. So the husband did like the electrical parts, and the wife did some of the other things. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's fascinating the way you guys complement one another. And before we go any further, just so the audience knows, I just met you, 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yes. So can you just tell us a little bit about that connection that you guys have?
Well, let me say a little bit on that part.
Okay.
You know, it's funny how you said we complement one another, because that's one of our next books that are coming out. When the both of you are powerhouses. You know, as my wife said, you know, I have no intimidation of her success, neither does she have any intimidation of my success, because we complement each other. If you take two people and stand them up and have them go back to back, you'll be able to see how one can see everything in front of them, where the other one cannot see what's behind them. You know, but both have the whole area, the whole spectrum covered. So it's just funny that you said that, because that's one of our books that are also coming out, how that we complement one another, and how when two people understand their role and understand the importance of working together, you can accomplish much more.
That's right.
You know, her and I, we've been married for 35 years. And of course, I have to throw this plug in. She said the next 35 years she's marrying me for my money. She married me the first 35 years for love, so the next 35 years for my money. But throughout the 35 years we've been married, we worked together, we did several businesses together, we worked several jobs together, and of course we worked ministry together, you know, fabulously. And go ahead, hon.
I'm just enjoying listening to you. He's right. We have worked together. We've done businesses together, but we don't want to give anyone the wrong impression that it's always been perfect.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We had to learn one another. We had to go through the struggle. We went through the ups and the downs. We cried together. We got mad and angry together, but God kept us because we wanted to be kept. And we wanted our marriage and our relationship to work. So in building our relationship, we had to go through the struggles and the challenges. But as a result of us, well, him mainly, more than me, saying that there's no quitting, we can't quit, it kept us going. So I just wanted to throw that plug in, because we do work well together as a team, but we've also had our struggles where I would be saying, all right, that's enough already, and he'd be saying, no, we both can't quit on the same day.
Right.
You can quit tomorrow, but today is my turn to quit.
And I like how you said that there's no quitting.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, anything worthwhile having is hard.
Of course.
Right.
And it gets easier with time, but
Exactly.
can you just imagine if everything was easy, you know, what would we be doing? How are our lives? You get bored.
Exactly.
You know, challenges, it spruce things up a little
Exactly.
bit. But the thing is not quitting.
True.
Exactly.
You know, that's awesome.
And I think with the both of us, because we both come from what society calls broken homes,
Yes.
where there was just one parent in the house, and our goal was to not be like that.
True.
You know, try to work it out if it's possible. Some things just aren't possible, but we wanted to give it our best shot. And if it didn't work, we could say, you know, we tried and we did this and we did the necessary things. But we're grateful and thankful that even through our struggles and hardships that we were able to overcome those things and that God kept us together. So we're very grateful.
And and that's the importance of being equally yoked.
Of course.
And a lot of people, they go into marriages not even thinking about really having that life partner, because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Exactly.
One of the other things that I find really impressive about the two of you working together is the fact that you both have a heart for people and a heart for pouring into people.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that and how you guys manage all of that together?
Wow.
Okay, you can start.
Okay. I think a lot of it is credited to our upbringing.
Yes.
I would have to start with there. Sometimes the way that you're raised give you that passion to do certain things. And I think just our upbringing, coming from that broken family and knowing what it's like to struggle as a family, knowing what it's like not to have, we kind of took that experience that we have gone through. And look, we're both testimonies. I mean, very humbly, we both have doctorate degrees. And we don't have honoraries. We have earned credit degrees. And we're not supposed to have that. They say, when you come from a broken family, he should have been in and out of jail. I should have been having, I don't know how many kids. You know how you're labeled growing up. But we were able to grow up. It wasn't always easy. But we can encourage other people that come from just one parent or no parents. And my husband, I can't wait till he tell you, he came from 6 foster homes. And 6 foster homes and a lot of other things that he went through growing up as a child has taught both of us, you got to give back. You just can't sit around and do nothing. And I have a serious passion, and I pray constantly for God to bless me so that I can be a blessing to someone else. I have a vision to get all the homeless people off the streets, to buy up abandoned buildings and convert them into safe havens that when it's cold, people don't have to look and stand in a line. It hurts me when I drive past certain places and people have to stand in a line and sign a card or whatever just to get in and be standing out there with their kids just to hear that, sorry, we're all full. I think in this great country that we live in, it should never be. So I have that passion to do that.
Yes. And our passion, it has been bitter and sour.
Oh yeah.
With that passion, although, just recently, my wife and I, we would sit down and we would say, why are we so passionate about people? And I've come to learn that it is a gift.
Yes.
It is a gift that without, this world will be in bad shape than what it is. But sometimes, it helps us and sometimes it hurts us.
Absolutely.
Because of the passion that we do have for people and the love for people, to see people do better. Sometimes, and I guess my wife will tell you leading up to the book, where the book actually came from, it's painful.
Yes.
Because with it, we've forgotten about ourselves.
Absolutely.
We neglected ourselves to help other people. In fact, with that passion, it threw me into a 10-year depression. The last 3 years was the worst, and this last year I was served a death notice. My primary doctor told me that I was dying, because of the depression, but the depression came from the passion, which is a gift. I thank God for it, but sometimes that passion can help you, and sometimes that passion can hurt you, especially if God is not guiding it. And that's the thing that we had to learn to do. When the scripture says, in all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. A lot of my hurt came from failing to acknowledge God. Lord, well, with this passion, should I help this person? With this passion, should I assist with this person? And waiting on God to say yes or accepting when God says no. You know, because sometimes God will say, no, I'm trying to get their attention. And sometimes our passion will get in God's way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You know,
yes.
so I thank God for the passion, but I think in this season I'm learning now to commit that passion unto God and say, okay, God, lead and guide me with this passion, so that, you know, even though we're part of the story, but you get all the glory.
That's right.
Amen.
That's
Yes,
right.
Yes, and
Wow.
as you were saying, it reminded me of a conversation, because I had a conversation with somebody very recently, and we were talking about the fact that when you think about Christ, right? And most of the time, when people think about Christ, they think about his birth, they think about the manger story, and then they think about him being on the cross, the crucifixion, his burial, and his resurrection. But in between, he lived.
Yes.
That's right.
He lived. So I've just within myself, I've just become a lot more intrigued with the life of Christ and how he
Exactly.
actually lived. And it's all in Scripture, and it tells you how he lived and everything. So when you were talking about your passion and everything, that's what the image that I was getting was Christ during the time of his ministry, and the things that he would have done leading up to his ministry, and just, you know, because you think about when he was in the garden, how anguished he was about what he was going through. And it reminded me, when you were talking, that's what it reminded me of. So, you know, with Christ as our model, then,
Exactly.
you know, we learn how to bridle that passion.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So I want to focus on this book. So I want to make sure the audience can see the book. In Your Journey Lies Your Awakening. And I know you basically wrote the book, but I want to start the conversation off with the bishop, because you said something when we were standing out there about how this book helped you as she was writing it. Before it was even completely published, it was helping you. So if you could share a little bit with our audience about what you meant when you said that.
Wow, that book. Well, it took her 5 years to write the book. And little that I knew, when she was writing that book, it was healing me from within.
Yes.
That book, I'm telling you, wow, that book. Every time I think about that book, I get emotional about it because of the effect that it has had on me and my family, meaning my father and my sisters and brothers. Before she wrote that book, or before the book got published, me and my father didn't have a great relationship for over 50 years. Once the book became published, it was something woke up in me. I guess that awakening
Yes.
woke up in me and brought me to a place of confronting my issue, and that was one of my issues, my family. I was able to go and sit with my dad, with my wife, of course, by my side, because I have to be honest with you, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't know what was going to come out of that conversation. But the book had prepared me and brought me to a place where it was time for me to confront some of those issues that I have carried so long. And as a result, my dad and I are like this.
Oh, nice.
Like this. In fact, my father have read the book. Now, my father is blind. He's legally blind. But he has a nurse, and she reads the book to him every night.
Oh, wow.
As a result, I got 3 of my other siblings are now reading the book. As a result of that book, my family has a prayer night. We have a prayer conference every Monday night where we come on the line and we just pray for family.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
So that book has really, I mean, and I constantly am still reading the book. I'm so glad that she's coming out with the workbook. I don't know what to do.
Oh, okay.
You know, but it's a very therapeutic, and it has really helped me and still helping me.
You know, it's interesting how you talked about the relationship with your father and how you had that, I want to say confrontation, but it's not a physical conversation. It's, you know, more face to face, and how you had to let go and purge everything that you was feeling, because I had to do the same thing. But once that was done, it was like, I was able to breathe again. I was able, like you said, an awakening. It was just all totally different. And then from there, our relationship got better.
Yes, yes.
It got better because, you know, he heard my side of how I was feeling,
Yes.
and
Yes,
you know,
yes.
the things that happened in my life, and now it's like, okay, now you know how I feel. Let go,
Yes.
and let's renew
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and refresh.
I like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I
So
like
can
that.
you talk a little bit now about the significance of the title of that book?
Yes.
Because it sounds like there was a journey for you to get to the point where you were able to actually write the book.
Yes, it was. When people usually ask me about the book, what was the purpose of writing the book, one of the first things I say that really shocks people is when I was introduced to me again.
I like that.
Yeah, there had to be a reconnection because I lost me. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in other people and their lives that we lose touch with who we are.
Yes, yes.
And I came to a place one day in my life and I was angry and I was upset. And I found myself actually being a hypocrite because we teach people to love, respect, and forgive one another. We teach people how the importance of loving people right where they are. But I found myself short because I came to a place of this is not working. Because like my husband said earlier, we just give. And there was no balance. And when you don't have balance, you'll find yourself mad and angry. You know, you ever been around people and you wonder, why are they so angry? Why are they so mad? Do they ever smile? Do they ever have a good day?
Yes, yes.
And it's because so much stuff has happened in their lives that often they don't trust nobody. So what happened, I was sitting one day and I was ready to give up on God. I was just ready to quit. I was ready to quit. I was sick of church, sick of God, and sick of people. And I was at that place where I was just ready to let it go. And because I used to write music and I used to sing years ago, back in my early years, I picked up a pencil and I just started writing how I felt. And it wasn't only the experiences that I from church or whatever, it took me all the way back in my childhood. You know, there comes a time, I believe, in all of our lives where we're going to be reintroduced to ourselves.
Yes, yes.
Like I heard you say just a minute ago, when you talk to your father, now he knew how you felt. You come to that place where people need to know how you felt, but at the same time, you want to do it in such a way that they hear you.
Yes.
Because when you're
Yes.
screaming and yelling, nothing ever gets resolved. And you leave out worse than what you were.
Yes. Yes.
So in writing that book, I had to confront some issues that I had been dealing with. And my thing was, once I finished writing the book, and if I still felt the same way, but God had a bigger plan. It was God's design for me to go through everything that I went through so that my life can be a testimony to someone else. So as I began to write down at the end of actually this journey started at the end of 2008. I was just finishing up school and trying to decide, you know, what I'm going to do, just finishing up and going to school and dealing with all that stuff and trying to keep my grades up. So God just had me to write. And as I began to write, I began to release. And as a result of releasing, the birthing of the book came. I didn't even realize how much I had written down. And then as I began to write, I started coming up with all these names. Recovery, and because I was being recovered, I was being rebirthed. So I thought the book should have been entitled Recovery. But at the last minute, it was like this still voice said, no, it's in your journey. What you have, the journey is the experiences that you had to go through. The awakening is the life lessons that you learned from it. So when I put it all together, it became in your journey lies your awakening. From the time you entered your mother's womb, your journey began.
Yes.
The 9 months, because when you were first created in the womb. You didn't have legs and arms and feet. You was, what people say was just a little seed or something.
Yes, yes.
So, but we had to develop things. And the same way we developed while we was in the womb, we have to develop when we get out of the womb.
Yes.
So that was the birthing of the book. So that's why I often say when I was introduced to me again, that's when In Your Journey Lies Your Awakening came to fruition.
Okay. So we're quickly running out of time. So could you just talk very, very quickly about, so you're developing a companion workbook.
Yes.
With this book. So can you tell our audience a little bit about what that, and am I correct in assuming that that means there's classes or something that people can take?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
The workbook, Lord be willing, will be out either the end of April of this year or the first week in May. And the workbook, my husband likes to call it a study guide.
Okay.
What it does, it makes, I don't want to use the word makes, but it allows an individual to see themselves. It's written to a place where you have to confront yourself because it asks you particular questions. There are chapters, and I'll write certain things in it, and then at the end, there's like a question and answer. But before you can go through to that section, I have an agreement in the book that you have to say, well, I, Anita, agree, because you're making this pledge to yourself.
To yourself, yes.
And so you have to sign your own book saying, I, Anita, agree to work on certain things in my life.
Okay.
And I will have a good friend or a best friend or somebody that I confide and believe in to help me to get to where I need to go.
Excellent.
And also I'm open for workshops, seminars, conferences. I'm available for all those things.
So how does our audience get in touch with you? We want to make sure that you get that information out there as well.
My Facebook is being rebuilt as we speak.
Okay.
So, I mean my website, thank you. So you can contact me on Facebook, Dr. Shirley M. Gaines. You can contact me Twitter, Dr. Shirley M. Gaines. You can contact me at Dr. Shirley M. Gaines at gmail.com or ladygaines12@yahoo.com.
Okay.
Or you can call me at 609-281-5268.
Okay, excellent,
Awesome.
excellent. So what is that last little nugget of information or wisdom that you want to leave with our audience before we wrap up?
Well, I'd just like to say, keep the faith.
Yes.
Stay in the race. Maintain your pace. Refuse to fall on your face because you can't afford to be a disgrace.
All right now, all right now.
Awesome.
What about you, Dr. Shirley?
Well, I'm not that deep, but what I would like to say in my last few minutes is it doesn't matter what you've been through.
Yes.
Don't look at that. Focus on where you're going because you are not who people say you are.
Amen.
You are what you choose to become. That's what I like to believe.
Amen.
Awesome.
So I want to thank you,
We
thank
thank
you, the
you
Gospel
guys.
Duo.
Thank you guys so much for having
for
us.
being here.
Thank
This
you.
was absolutely wonderful. So for our audience who joined us, these are incredible people. You got all the contact information that you need, and what I'd like to do is just make sure that people can get in touch with you. So I wanted to put the book up one last time. In Your Journey Lies Your Awakening by Dr. Shirley M. Gaines. And is this available on Amazon?
Amazon.
Okay, so you can go
Barnes
right.
and Nobles, wherever books are sold.
Okay, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, ebook. Make sure you get your copy. Thank you very much, everybody.